This morning, while most of the kids were outside for recess. Over the next 90 minutes, we'll take you behind the scenes and show you how crews battled this massive blaze that at one point shot flames 15 meters into the sky.
Then we'll bring you the story of the trauma experienced by the students who were forced to flee and the reunions with their parents.
Plus, we'll take a look at why the school burned and why it was destroyed so quickly.
Also, we'll look at what happens to the students and staff of Happy Valley for the rest of the school year.
We begin with the fire itself. It has now died down and left the building a smoking rubble. Dozens of firefighters spent most of the day battling the flames in a quiet residential neighborhood in the western communities. Here is CH's Kim Emerson.
The smoke can be seen for miles, but from the distance, you can't get a real feel for what's happening at the school. What firefighters see when they arrive is flames burning through the roof at the center of the building. They attack from above and below, trying to keep the blaze from spreading. Trying to contain the flames means finding every possible angle to attack the heart of the fire. The smoke is relentless, and much of it caused by the tar used in the roofing material. At this point, firefighters still believe they can save much of the building.
We have a particular area of interest where the fire started, but we have no other information at this point in time.
The firefighters quickly realize they are fighting a losing battle. The one thing they have going for them? No wind. The flames and smoke go straight up in the air. There are trees around two sides of the school, and the potential for them to catch fire is great. And as the blaze moves to the outside edges of the building, police try to get people to move out of their yards which border the school.
People, can we have you step out of the backyard, please? Now!
But the flames are so compelling, people can't help but want to see what's happening to a large piece of their personal history. This fire is so big, mutual aid is called upon from several departments, including Colwood, Metchosin, and Esquimalt.
Okay, so you got enough?
I need gear. I just needed what I've got on.
For the crews fighting this huge blaze, the work is exhausting, and they need to be spelled off from time to time.
So far, we have no reported injuries by any of our firefighters. Paramedics are on staff, are on scene as well. And that's what we're going to focus on now. At this point in time, there's nothing we can do to prevent further loss, and the key is to make sure that our people are safe.
The heat is intense from this inferno. Once fire crews decide to simply do containment, the fire rages high into the sky. And one concern then is to make sure the fire equipment is safe. At one point, crews have to hose down the pumper truck to prevent it from igniting.
We threw everything we could at it. Unfortunately, the fire had taken hold. It's an old building and it's not sprinklered. The good news is that all of the children and staff are out safely. They were well looked after from the moment the alarm sounded.
Happy Valley Elementary is a total loss, but the kids won't be out of school for long because the school district is expected to reopen a school that was recently closed due to budget concerns.
As you can imagine, fire breaking out inside a school is a traumatic experience. Fortunately, it was recess and most of the children were not inside the building. There were no injuries. But two children who suffer from asthma were checked out in hospital. CH's Philip Campbell has that part of the story.
A Happy Valley Elementary student is wheeled into Victoria General Hospital in nearby View Royal. Family friends say she's now back home and doing well. About a half an hour later, a dozen students with some of their teachers and other school staff arrive in Langford. They got a ride to the Legion Hall aboard an out-of-service BC Transit bus. School officials brought them here because they couldn't reach their parents by phone.
Are you okay? Wow. That's right. I'll see you in a few minutes, okay?
Some parents were at work when they heard about the blaze.
my part-time job at Walmart, and they called over the PA system saying that all the children at Happy Valley School be evacuated because there's a large oil fire, and of course your heart goes into your throat. It's okay, and it's so quick. The response was great. Our duty manager just comes to you and says, go. And here I am.
Back at the scene, as the fire continues to rage out of control, these youngsters, who should be in their classes laboring over math, English, and social studies, play games, trying to forget about what's happening to their school directly across the street. But curiosity gets the better of them. They come outside as their gymnasium begins to go up in flames.
I was really scared because I was just playing over by the maple, one of those trees over there, and then my sister called me over, and then my friends just started yelling fire because they heard the fire bell ring.
Well, in the beginning, I was really scared, but now the fire's grown a lot, but all I can really do is hope for it to be the best, and what happens, happens.
Is it hard for you to watch this?
Yeah. Yeah, I just can't believe it's happening.
Where were you before you went out on recess? What part of the building were you in?
One of the front rooms there.
That's fully involved in flame right now.
Yeah.
The middle part, or?
No, on this side. Yeah.
In fact, this is part of the roof crashing down on Darian's classroom. Inside, all of her schoolwork.
In the fire.
No time to get it out.
No.
Darian's father has been videotaping the fire to show his son. He can't believe this is happening to the school his family has been such a big part of for so many years.
So I sprung out of bed and put a house coat on and looked out the window, and I was just shocked. I was just alarmed to see what was going on there. So up I got and out across the street to the school, and my wife was bringing the kids home, and they were all devastated. They all needed a big hug. And I can barely believe this is even going on.
Well, you might think of school as being a safe place where a fire drill might be the closest your child ever gets to the real thing.
And if flames were to break out, you'd expect sprinklers to make short work of the fire. That was not the case today. CH's Mary Langdon takes a look at why the building couldn't be saved.
This is as close of a look that you'll get to a fire this size. The fire burned so ferociously, it started sucking air in gulps, creating a series of flame tornadoes that ripped right out of the roof. Initially, the fire didn't show signs it was going to be the inferno it turned out to be. For a while, firefighters were working on the roof, even walking on top of one part. But the first hints the fire was going to take off came in the form of a rush of flames. The fire crept through the roof. Smoke started to pour out of the building like water out of an overflowing pot. Then, with a whoosh, the flames popped through, creating another front for fire crews to fight on. Could the school have been saved? Well, maybe. But because the school wasn't equipped with a sprinkler system, the fire was able to get a hold and start to spread unchallenged.
It was well seated and just impossible to get to it based on the age of the building, the type of construction, and the lack of a sprinkler system.
How big a factor did that play, the lack of sprinklers?
Well, huge.
The Sooke School District says that only schools built within the last 5 years would have a sprinkler system.
I don't think you'll find sprinklers in any school that wasn't built in the last 5 years.
Is that right?
Yes.
So do most parents know that there's no sprinklers in the school?
I would imagine so. I don't know. I couldn't answer for most parents.
So any school that doesn't have sprinklers, will there maybe now be a move to put sprinklers in the school? Because the fire chief seemed to think that had quite a role in how big this fire got.
I think sprinklers make a considerable difference, which is why they're part of code nowadays.
The Langford Fire Department also had to cope with equipment problems. The ladder unit was knocked out of commission. It's not clear how big a role that played in the containment effort, but the chief says they'll be investigating why that happened.
We did have to, as I mentioned, go defensive. We struggled to get the truck moved back because of the heat, but we were able to save the truck. We have lost some hoses and some minor equipment when the walls collapsed, but as you can appreciate, that type of equipment can be replaced. Firefighters certainly can't be.
Well, as we've shown you, the school and virtually everything inside has been destroyed, and that means students will need to restock themselves with supplies. You can help. The students will need new school supplies, including things like lined notebooks, rulers, pencils and pens, erasers, crayons and pencil crayons, duotangs and binders, things like that. They'll also need new backpacks, gym shoes and clothes. You can drop off your donations right here at CH News, 780 Kings Road in Victoria, 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we will get those supplies to the children. We have more to come on today's fire right after the break. What do the students do now that their school has been destroyed?
Well, no one was injured. This isn't a story without tragedy. Think of all the artwork, the schoolwork, and books destroyed. And while the fire alarm rings, unfortunately, nobody is thinking about grade 4's class pet.
It was a guinea pig, and what I'm hoping is that it drank water, spat it into its food dish and sat in there. It'd be protected from the fire, but that's just what I'm hoping. I'm not sure if it's really going to happen, but if it does, that's going to be
optimist,
really
isn't
fun.
Yes, he is. A photographer. Yes, it certainly was. A photographer with the Times Colonist was the first journalist on the scene of that fire. And as we go to break, here's a look at some of the dramatic pictures captured by Deborah Brash.